Heading into campaign season, we've got a coalition of humanitarian groups pushing for a permanent increase to the foreign aid budget. It follows suggestions from Labor's Foreign Affairs spokeswoman Penny Wong that an Albanese Labor government could significantly increase, she says, the aid budget. Now, it's hard not to see all the billions and billions on climate change, Caleb, as a form of foreign aid, if there's also an increase to the foreign aid as well. And if we look further afield from our region here, I don't know that that's money well spent given how much China's pumping into the Indo-Pacific. I think we should be closer to home, don't you?
Well, I agree. I mean, we need to think first and foremost about our own people at home. And of course, coming out the other side of the pandemic, there will be spot fires that need to be put out and you know, people who found themselves in dire situations, particularly here in Melbourne where we are. But I must say, though, if we're talking specifically about welfare that's being given to, or foreign aid that's being given to the Pacific nations, we have, of course, seen a rise in the money that China is investing in the Pacific. And I would worry to some degree that if we pulled out of the Pacific entirely, that they would become completely indebted to China, and that would ultimately be worse for us as a country and worse for the West in general.
I guess my point, Amanda, is aggregating. If you look at the climate spend, which is aid to developing nations by and large, and you look at foreign aid, together, I think we should be considering that sum of money. It's not two separate pots of aid, in my view.
Look, I think it is fair to consider all of the different ways that we contribute to assisting our neighbours, and you're right to say that covers a whole lot of different spheres. We should also take into account the fact that we've provided enormous assistance with providing vaccination and health support during the COVID period. We provide concessional loan schemes to assist our economic development of Pacific neighbours, and we also provide enormous help with maritime security throughout the region. All of these things combine to make sure that while Australia does spend a lot on these sorts of things, and we should only ever do that carefully and wisely, that it's being done in a way that aligns with Australia's security interests. So you'll observe that this government has concentrated a lot of the overseas development aid funds that it provides to places that align well with Australia's strategic interests. There's no reason why those interests and humanitarian concerns can't align if we're going to be spending this kind of dough.